She said she was babysitting my nephew. Sweet lie, right? But when I saw her at that hotel pool, laughing with him, everything inside me froze. You think betrayal only hurts once, no? It echoes. And that day, I decided she'd feel every echo back. Before I tell you how that day changed, everything hit. Like, share, and subscribe. You won't believe how karma caught up with them. You know, sometimes life feels so steady that you start believing nothing could ever shake it. That's where I was living inside this warm, quiet bubble with Tessa. Everything about her made the world feel easier. The way she'd hum when making coffee in the morning. Or how she'd reach for my hand when we'd cross the street like it was second nature. We weren't perfect, but we were comfortable. And that kind of comfort, that's dangerous. Because comfort makes you stop looking for cracks. That morning started like any other. Sunlight crawling through the curtains. Her hair messy, but beautiful. The smell of toast mixing with her perfume. She was getting ready to go out, said she'd promised my sister she'd babysit my nephew for a few hours. I didn't think twice. Why would I? It wasn't the first time she'd helped. She was close to my family, maybe closer than I'd even realized. I remember smiling at her reflection in the mirror as she tied her hair back, that playful grin she'd throw over her shoulder. She looked safe. The kind of safe that fools you right before the storm hits. She said she might be gone till evening, depending on how fussy the kid was. I kissed her forehead, told her to drive safe, and she just slipped away. No hesitation. No strange energy. Just calm. I remember that specifically, how calm she was. It's weird how your brain replays those little moments once the truth hits. You start rewinding every word, every look, trying to find the lie you missed. I went about my day like a fool who thought love was solid. Worked from home, answered emails. Even called my sister later to thank her for not asking me to help. Jokingly said she was lucky. Tessa volunteered. She laughed and said, "What are you talking about?" I didn't ask her to babysit today. Silence after that hit me harder than anything. You know that kind of silence that makes your heartbeat sound like a drum in your skull? Yeah, that one. I laughed at first, thinking maybe my sister had forgotten, or there was a mix-up. But deep down, something twisted. A small, heavy knot formed in my chest, that quiet voice we always try to shut down when we don't want the truth. Still, I tried to brush it off. Maybe she mixed up the days, I told myself. Maybe she was helping someone else. Maybe she just needed a break. I even texted her, "How's my nephew doing?" Still, the little monster he was last week. No reply. I called once. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Nothing. By late afternoon, my mind was a war zone. Logic versus fear. Trust versus instinct. I'd never been the jealous type. Never had to be. But that day my gut wouldn't shut up. It kept whispering that something was wrong. I started replaying her goodbye in my head. How she hadn't looked me in the eye when she said she was running late. How she'd avoided that usual quick kiss at the door. Small things that didn't matter then, but now felt like clues. I sat on the couch, staring at her coffee cup, still half full, lipstick smudged on the rim. And that's when it hit me. Love blinds you not because you can't see, but because you refuse to. You trust because you want to, not because they deserve it. Evening crawled in slow. Every minute she didn't reply, chipped a little more off that peace I thought we had. My heart wasn't just suspicious anymore. It was scared. Scared of what it might find. Scared that maybe the calm I'd been living in wasn't calm at all, just silence before the storm. I remember whispering to myself, almost like a prayer, "Please don't let me be right." But deep down, I already knew the truth had started moving. And once truth starts moving, it doesn't stop. It crashes, it burns, and it takes everything you thought you knew with it. That evening, the air felt heavier than usual. You know that kind of silence that hangs in a room when something's off, but you can't explain what. That was my apartment. The clock ticked louder, my thoughts moved slower, and every time my phone lit up, my pulse jumped, only for it to be some random notification, never her. By 7, I'd called her 3 times. Straight to voicemail, every single time. I told myself she might have left her phone charging somewhere, that maybe my nephew had fallen asleep on her lap, and she didn't want to move. I even laughed about it once, pretending I wasn't slowly unraveling. But laughter doesn't fix the feeling that your gut's screaming at you to wake up. Then came the moment that changed everything. My sister called, casual as ever, asking if Tessa was coming to Sunday brunch. I asked, "Wait, she's not still with you, right?" My sister paused, a confused laugh slipping out. "With me? Ronan, I haven't seen Tessa in days." At pause. It was like someone had turned the air cold. I remember standing there, frozen, my phone still pressed to my ear, while my brain scrambled to find another explanation. Maybe my sister forgot. Maybe she was joking. Maybe I misheard. But deep down, I knew there were no maybes left. I didn't tell my sister anything, just said I must have misunderstood and hung up. Then I sat down, staring at the screen like it held all the answers I didn't want. Her last message to me was that morning, a simple heart emoji after she'd said goodbye. No goodnight texts. No home safe. Nothing. Just emptiness. You ever feel your body go cold while your mind starts racing ahead? That's what happened. My thoughts started building pictures I didn't want to see. Places she could be, people she could be with. I tried fighting them off, but they came anyway, sharp and vivid. I opened her social media. Nothing new. Then, without even thinking, I checked our shared location, something we'd set up a year ago for safety, just in case. My thumb hovered over the icon for a long second before I pressed it. The blue dot loaded slowly, painfully slow, until it landed somewhere unexpected. A hotel, not far from our apartment. At first I thought maybe I was seeing it wrong, maybe it was a glitch. I zoomed in. Nope. It was a hotel, clear as day. Right near the downtown district, the kind of place couples went for weekend getaways, not for babysitting. My chest felt tight, like the walls around me had started closing in. I stood there staring at that dot, trying to tell myself there was a good reason. Maybe she'd met someone for coffee. Maybe it was a friend's place. Maybe anything but what it looked like. But when you love someone, and the truth is that close, your heart starts preparing before your mind accepts it. I remember pacing the room, the floor creaking under my feet, my hands trembling but my mind going blank. It's strange when betrayal begins to make sense. That's when you realize it's been building for a while. The little signs you ignored, the odd excuses. The moments she seemed distant, they all line up like pieces of a puzzle you never wanted to finish. By the time the clock hit 8, my decision was already made. I wasn't going to call. I wasn't going to text. I needed to see it. Needed to face whatever truth was hiding behind that hotel window. I grabbed my keys, slipped on my jacket, and stared at the reflection in the mirror before leaving. I barely recognized the man looking back. His jaw was tight. His eyes weren't calm anymore. They were ready. Not for a fight, but for the end. Driving there felt like moving through fog. The streets blurred, lights smeared across the windshield. But one thought kept echoing in my head, she lied. Those two words repeated like a heartbeat, steady and cruel. When I finally pulled into the hotel parking lot, my hands were cold, my pulse steady in a way that scared me. Because when you stop feeling panic, that's when something inside you truly breaks. And as I sat there, watching the lobby doors through the windshield, one thought burned quietly inside me. If she's really here, everything changes tonight. I don't think I'll ever forget the way the hotel lights looked that night. Soft, gold, almost too peaceful, like they were mocking me. The place was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you question your own heartbeat. I sat in my car for a few minutes, just staring at the building, my fingers gripping the steering wheel so tight they hurt. I wanted to be wrong. God, I wanted to be wrong more than I'd ever wanted anything. But then I saw it, her car, parked near the entrance. The same dent on the left side, the same charm hanging from the rearview mirror, the one I'd given her last Christmas. I felt my stomach drop. You know that feeling when reality starts collapsing, like the ground you trusted just gives way beneath you? That was me, sitting there. Realizing the lie wasn't just in my head anymore. It was right in front of me, parked under hotel lights. I told myself maybe she was visiting someone. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. I repeated those lies until they started to sound almost believable. But the truth has a way of clawing through even your best excuses. I stepped out of the car, my legs heavier than they'd ever felt. Every sound, a car door, a laugh in the distance, the hum of a vending machine, it all felt louder, sharper. Inside the lobby, the air smelled faintly of chlorine and cheap perfume. The receptionist barely looked up when I walked in. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I needed to see. There's a kind of madness that comes with betrayal, a desperate need to confront the lie face to face before it eats you alive. Then I heard it. Laughter, her laughter. It came from beyond the glass doors leading to the pool area. Soft at first, but unmistakable. I followed it without thinking. My heart was pounding so hard it drowned out everything else. I pushed the door open, and there she was. Tessa. Sitting. At the edge of the pool, her legs in the water, wearing a swimsuit I'd never seen before, bright yellow, glowing under the lights. Next to her, laughing, splashing, was Callan Drover, my coworker, the same guy who'd once told me I was lucky to have her. We're close, too close. His hand brushed her leg, and she didn't pull away. She leaned in, she smiled, the kind of smile she used to save for me. It's strange how time slows down when your world collapses. Every detail imprints itself like a scar, the reflection of the pool lights on her skin, the glass of wine by her foot, the way she looked so free. Free in a way that I'd never seen before. Free because she'd already left me long before I found out. I stood there, hidden behind the glass, watching. My breath fogged up the window. I could have stormed in right then, could have shouted, could have made a scene. But I didn't. I just watched. Because in that moment, anger didn't even feel right. It was too small for what I was feeling. What I felt was hollow. After a minute that felt like an hour, I turned away. My heart wasn't racing anymore, it was numb. I walked out of that hotel like a ghost. The night air hit my face, cold and merciless, but it didn't wake me up. I got in my car and just sat there, staring at nothing, my fingers trembling on the steering wheel. I didn't cry, not then. I think I'd already cried enough without realizing it. What hurt the most wasn't what she did, it was that she looked happy doing it, like my love had never even existed. And as I sat there in that parking lot, the taste of metal in my mouth, I made a promise to myself I wouldn't confront her right then. Not yet. I wanted her to think the lie was still alive, because when I confronted her, I wanted her to feel every ounce of the truth she thought I'd never find. That was the night I stopped being the man who trusted her. That was the night. I became the man who would make sure karma remembered her name. The night after the hotel, I didn't sleep, not even for a minute. My apartment felt different, like every corner was echoing with her voice. I sat there in the dark, staring at the last photo we took together, her arms around me, smiled bright, eyes full of lies I hadn't seen yet. I kept wondering how long she'd been slipping away from me while pretending everything was fine. Maybe it didn't happen overnight. Maybe betrayal always builds slowly, one small lie at a time. By morning, something in me had shifted. I wasn't angry anymore, that kind of anger that screams. This was colder, quieter, sharper. It's the kind that doesn't need to prove anything, it just waits for the right moment to strike. When she finally came home that afternoon, she walked in humming, carrying a shopping bag like nothing had happened. My heart almost broke from how casual she looked. "Hey," she said, setting her keys on the counter. "Sorry, I got in late last night. Your sister wanted me to stay longer than expected." It's that lie. That smooth, easy lie. It rolled off her tongue like she'd rehearsed it. I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her, studied every move, the way she avoided my eyes, the way she bit her lip pretending to be tired. She asked if I was okay, and I remember forcing a smile. "Yeah," I said softly. "I just didn't sleep much." She smiled back, relieved, walked closer, and wrapped her arms around me. I felt her warmth, her heartbeat. It made me sick.
Oh.
My hands wanted to push her away, but my heart wanted one last moment of pretending. Let her hold me for a few seconds, then stepped back and said, "You must have been busy at the hotel." Her face changed instantly. It was like watching a mask fall off. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened slightly, and for a second, just 1 second, she looked scared. Then came the denial. "What are you talking about? You were at the Serrano Hotel," I said. "With Callan. I saw you." She froze. The room went silent, so quiet I could hear the hum of the fridge. Then she whispered, "It's not what you think." I laughed louder than I expected, bitter enough to make her flinch. "Not what I think." "You lied about babysitting my nephew, Tessa? You lied to my face, then spent the night drinking and laughing with another man. Tell me, how exactly should I think?" She started crying, tears real ones. Maybe not. She said she made a mistake, that it was harmless, that she just needed something different. That last part stuck in my chest like glass. Something different. So what was I then? I asked. A habit? She reached for me, but I stepped back. And for the first time, I saw her clearly not as the woman I loved, but as the stranger who'd worn her face. I didn't yell, I didn't throw things. I just stood there, letting her words fall apart on their own, because no matter what she said, I'd already seen the truth. You can't unsee betrayal. You can't unfeel it. Finally, I said the only thing that mattered. Pack your things. Don't come back. She begged, cried harder, said she could explain, but there was nothing left to explain. I turned away and walked out of the apartment. I didn't even take my phone. I just needed air. Outside, the world felt colder, but lighter too. Like some heavy, invisible weight had finally been ripped off me, leaving raw skin underneath. I didn't know if I was heartbroken or just empty. That night, I got a text from Callan. He said he was sorry, that it just happened. I stared at his message until my vision blurred. Then I sent one reply. "Don't worry, Callan. It'll never happen again." He didn't know what I meant, but he would, because I wasn't going to scream or fight or chase revenge like a fool. No, I was going to let karma handle it. I just wanted to make sure karma didn't lose its way to their door. And deep down, I knew this wasn't the end. It was the moment before karma started working. The days after the confrontation felt quiet, too quiet. It's strange how silence sounds different after betrayal. Before silence was peace. After, it's just noise that reminds you of what's missing. Tessa moved out 2 days later. No goodbye. No closure. Just a set of keys left on the counter and a hollow echo in the hallway where her laughter used to live. At first, I thought revenge meant shouting, breaking things, doing something dramatic. But that wasn't me. And honestly, nothing I could do to her would ever hurt more than her own choices. Karma doesn't need my help. It just needs time. So I waited, quietly, patiently. I threw myself into work, long hours and late nights. Anything to drown out her voice in my head. People around me started noticing I was different, sharper, focused. I wasn't the soft-spoken guy anymore. I was colder, but also freer. And then fate decided to do what it always does. It showed me the beauty of timing. About 3 weeks after she left, I was sitting in a meeting at work when the HR director walked in looking furious. Behind her was Callan. His face was pale, jaw tight, eyes darting everywhere. Word spread fast. Someone had sent screenshots to the company, messages, photos, timestamps, proof that he'd been having an affair with a coworker. It violated policy. And just like that, his career was gone. Nobody knew who sent them. Nobody but me. You see, betrayal gives you pain, but it also gives you clarity. And clarity is dangerous when you know exactly where to aim it. I didn't ruin his life. I just made sure the truth found its way to the right inbox. Karma did the rest. That night, when I got home, I poured a drink and stood by the window, watching the city lights. I didn't feel happy. Not really. Just balanced. Like the scales had finally evened out. A few weeks later, she texted me. Just a single line, "Can we talk?" I didn't reply. She called. I let it ring. There's a strange kind of power in silence, especially when you've been the one silenced before. I blocked her after that. She'd already had her chance to explain. Now, she could talk to the mirror instead. Months passed. The pain dulled into something manageable, something I could breathe through. I started seeing friends again, laughing again. Life didn't rush to fill the space she left. It just quietly rebuilt around it. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like myself again. Not someone's boyfriend, not someone's fool, just me. Then, one day, about a year later, I stopped at a cafe near my office. It was one of those calm mornings where the air feels forgiving. I ordered coffee, sat down, and waited. When the waitress came over, I looked up and froze. It was her, Tessa. She looked different, smaller somehow. The spark that used to dance in her eyes was gone, replaced by something quieter, something tired. She recognized me instantly. For a second, we just looked at each other. No words. No anger, just the weight of everything that had happened. She tried to smile, but it trembled. I nodded politely, said thank you, and went back to my coffee. She walked away, and that was it. No speeches. No revenge speech. No cruel goodbye. Just silence, the same silence she'd once left me in. Only this time it didn't hurt, because that's what karma really is. It's not fire or chaos or screaming justice. It's peace. It's that quiet moment when you realize you no longer need to hurt them back. Life already did. As I walked out of that cafe, the morning sun hit my face. I breathed in deeply, felt something like closure settle in my chest. And I thought to myself, maybe she'd finally learned what babysitting the truth feels like. It's heavy, relentless, and it never stops crying. And that's the thing about betrayal. It never wins. It only teaches. And I've learned enough for a lifetime.